Imagine you see a mall that opens up near where you live. It's real close by, so it takes practically no time to get there. And the new mall is going to attract big stores and small stores, stores selling old, reliable products and some brand new, exciting ones as well. You go to the mall and you see that there are staff there from other stores that you have bought goods from before. So you go, yeah, why not? I'll try out this brand new mall. I'll try these stores out. I'll see how their products are. And before you know it, the mall starts to expand. And it expands in a way that doesn't really make sense. There's not a lot of stores that are similar, but they're still bringing in good products and they're, more importantly, bringing in more people. Eventually, the people who made the mall say, we're going to make another mall. This mall is going to be bigger and it's going to be kind of like the first one, but hopefully it's a little bit more cohesive. So, after a couple years, this new mall opens up and it's got some familiar stores and it also has some new products. Now, some of the big stores you have to pay for memberships to join, and there are also some smaller stores that eventually you'll just be able to walk into. But the old mall will stick around, but now all the focus is on this new mall. This new mall is big and impressive, and there's some growing pains, but eventually a big box store moves in and brings in a ton of people. And it has some new and exciting products, but also some really tried and true, old, reliable products. After this big box store moves in and a ton of people come to the mall, then the growth starts. Other big box stores start moving in that you still have to buy memberships for, but they're new and exciting. But the mall starts to get so big that the owners of the mall say, okay, we have to cut down on some of the stores. So some of those larger stores that you've already bought memberships for, you show up one day and those memberships are gone. The memberships are still there, but the stores themselves are gone. It made people upset, but on the other hand, that's the price that they say you have to pay to get new box stores with new and exciting products. And of course, along the way, you are not the only one shopping at the mall. There's so many other people who choose to shop here, and much like you, they like the new products, they like the old products, they like the staff that they recognize. And in making the new mall, they pulled most of the staff from the old mall, and so it feels very familiar, but it's still a new experience. Eventually, the mall starts to hit a critical mass and they start to remove more big stores, and people get upset because they say, well, I already paid for a membership for this store, but it's not here anymore. So what do I have to show for it? And then some small stores start moving in that you also have to pay memberships for those. And people get upset. They say, we used to get these big stores that we had to pay money for, but now even the small stores you have to pay for. And all the while, it's still pulling in more people. More and more people keep flooding to this mall, and it gets bigger and bigger. One day, you find yourself standing in front of an epic VR experience. The epic VR experience is best experienced with some friends, but you don't have any friends, so you stand there and just kind of hope that somebody comes by and asks if you want to go in. And someone does. They stop by and they say, hey, I found a group of people and we all want to go into the epic VR experience. Do you want to join us? And so you shyly say yes, but you join them. And then the epic VR experience is truly something epic. And it's challenging, but you come out with those people that joined you and realize that you want to do that again with them. And so you join a community, a group of people, a clan that does things like go through the Epic VR experience, but sometimes they want to shop casually. So you join them on those shopping casual adventures too, whether it's the large big box stores or the small ones. And there's so many people at the mall to engage with. You can stand in the middle of the lobby and dance and wave at people, and people will dance and wave back. You can kick balls around and fireworks get set off in the middle of the lobby. All the while, there's an orchestra performing some of the most beautiful music you've ever heard. Eventually, a company comes along and says, you know what? This mall is really successful. We'd like to buy all the malls you have. And the mall owner is, oh, so happy to sell all the malls so that they can get a bunch of money. And in selling these malls, you find out that the owners of the mall don't just have the old mall and the big mall, they also have 5 other malls that they're building right now. They're less like malls. Some of them might be malls, some of them might be shopping centers, but they're working on expanding outside of the big mall. And that's exciting for a company coming in trying to buy the big mall. It looks like they're really successful. But as it turns out, those malls that were being worked on, staff being siphoned from the big mall to help staff up these future malls and shopping centers, they would never see the light of day, all but one. And the owner of all the shopping malls, as it turns out, these malls have been so successful, but he's been taking a lot of money and buying cars that won't end up in the parking lot of any of the malls. So the people who shop there get really upset. They say, this is not fair. We spend money at the mall. The money should go to the mall. But it doesn't matter. The cars have already been bought, and the deal has already been made. Some people see this as a good idea. Some people think under new leadership, the malls will be reinvigorated and they will have more resources so they can get more stores and better products. But some people are hesitant. A change in leadership means changes at some level. You can never predict what that level is going to be. And then one day, you show up at the window of your favorite box store leading into the mall, and you see a sign that says, going out of business sale. The sales will never be as good as they are now. The products have almost never been better. But for many people, why would you keep shopping at a store if you know there's not going to be any restock? The store will still be around, they still have stock, but one day they'll run out. And then once the store has run out of stock, then what? They're not being restocked, so the store will get torn down, and the rest of the mall with it. This may seem like a corny analogy, but all of this, I hope, kind of gives you an idea of what is happening with Destiny and Destiny 2. Destiny, the old mall, is still around. It's still kicking. And there's nothing saying that the old mall is bad. You know, it's got familiar stores that some people don't want to leave, and that's okay. Back in the fall, I had a lot of time off, and I decided I wanted to go back to that old mall and see what it was all about. And it was just as enjoyable as I remember it being. I spent 100 hours at that mall last fall, and I'm really glad that I did, even if I did it just as a solo shopper. And then there's the news of the big mall, Destiny 2. It's, some people might say, shutting down. It's not going anywhere, but after the June content update, they say it will not be receiving any future updates. And that's really heartbreaking because, again, referring to the analogy, why would you keep shopping at a store if you know they're never going to get a restock? Now, to be fair, the stock that they're putting in for the going out of business sale is incredible. It really feels like the 15th wish, for lack of a better term. Is it 15? I don't even know. But it feels like the last wish where somebody at Bungie said, and we're going to give them Sparrow Racing League. And they put a period at the end of the sentence. And it's hard to believe that that sentence may be the last in the many chapters that have been the Destiny franchise. Some people have spent hundreds of hours, some people thousands, some people have spent over 10,000 hours in Destiny, both between the first game and the second game. I myself have probably put in close to 2,000 hours. In Destiny 2 alone, at least 1,600. And I've got a real life. I started playing when I was in high school. And now I've got a career, you know? I don't sit and play 24/7. I can't sit down and play this game for my job. I have real world responsibilities, but I still managed to put in 1,600 hours. If I assume I have 4 hours every day after my other responsibilities are done, and I spend all 4 of those hours playing Destiny, that would still be over 400 straight days of playing Destiny. And those kinds of numbers are unbelievable. I have no idea how many hours somebody spends at their church or at a bar or hanging out with friends or actually working. 10,000 hours is an incredible number. If I only had 4 hours in a day to play Destiny and I had to accumulate 10,000 hours, that would be 2,500 days of playing Destiny. And that's a lot of time. And then you factor in the community. Again, per the analogy, I was a solo shopper for a long time, but one day that raid opened up, Vault of Glass in Destiny 2, and I raised my hand and I said, I want to do this. And I had nobody to do it with. So I screamed into the void, and an echo came back asking me, inviting me to join a group. And yeah, it was hard, especially for a player like me who didn't have almost any end game loot. But it was so fun outside of the challenge that I wanted to keep playing with the guys who invited me. And then that opened up a world, a whole community to me that stuck with me almost through my entire college years. Now imagine going back to the mall that, you also have a job and you have coworkers, and one day you overhear your coworkers talking about shopping at the mall. And you go, hey, I shop at the mall all the time. Do you want to go shopping sometime? And that's what happened to me. They weren't coworkers, they were classmates, but we were taking classes together, and I saw their Destiny tattoos and heard them talking about Destiny, and I sheepishly said, hey, I also play Destiny, and they said, hey, that's cool. Would you like to play with us sometime? And from that, I have friendships that have lasted beyond my college years. And because of those guys who I met through Destiny, I have met other incredible people. And it's weird to think that the Nexus was that mall. But it's not so weird to people of the modern world, for lack of a better term. Video games have become a great third space for people because, like I said, it takes no time to get to the mall. Some people might have iffy internet connections, but you don't have to get in your car and drive somewhere. If you want to kick it around a fireplace, or a fire pit rather, if you're just looking to talk with your friends, you don't have to drive somewhere to do that. You can all hop on Destiny and just jump around in the tower for minutes or hours, maybe, sitting in orbit, just listening to that orchestra play incredible music. And that's all of that and more is why people are so upset. And I'm sure anybody who watches this video is going to know what I'm talking about, if not because of the gameplay, just because of the history that I have with this game. But I want to try and explain it in a way that helps people to understand why this is so hard. Now, I almost cried when I found out that Destiny 2 would not be receiving any more updates. And there are music tracks from Destiny that make me want to cry, you know? Some of them might be playing in the background of this video, but that's because they capture the emotions that I had with friends, the fun times, the nostalgia, all of that is captured in this music. And it's hard for people who have spent, whether it's hundreds or thousands or over 10,000 hours on this game. It's not the amount of time, but what you did with it that has impacted people, right? People have made long-lasting friendships. Some people have made relationships or even gotten married because they met somebody through Destiny 2 and its global community. I would have never imagined as a young child that I would be playing regularly with people on the other side of the globe. And yet, those are the opportunities that were afforded to me by Destiny and its community. Some people have, well, not some people, a lot of people have not rejected this, but tried to react to the news that there is no Destiny 3. This game means so much to so many people, and a little bit to even more. And so there's a petition going around that people are signing to tell Sony that we want Destiny 3. It's amusing. Destiny 3 has been a scapegoat and a boogeyman, all of the above, for many years. But now more than ever, it's important to show your support. The game has touched millions of people, and even 300,000 people is nothing to scoff at. I thought it was ridiculous because the business of business is business. And if Destiny 2 isn't making money now, there's absolutely nothing guaranteeing it will make money as a franchise in the future. But there's also nothing guaranteeing it won't. If 300,000 people all signed this petition and all are going to buy the game, some games wish they could get a third of that many players as an all-time high. And that's just the people who have signed in the past 4 days. So I thought it was fruitless. But if, I can sleep better at night knowing that I put my name on that petition. I want to believe that we could make a difference. We could show them, Bungie, Sony, whomever is listening, that this community, through all of its ups and downs, still wants to shop at the mall. I bet even people who shop at the old mall and who haven't shopped at the new mall, or maybe shopped at the new mall and said, it wasn't for me. This is their franchise too. One of my biggest concerns with Destiny Rising is that it would make a mockery of Destiny as a franchise if Destiny 2 were to go away. And I think we all knew at some point it's going to go away. We just didn't expect it would be so soon. And now I'm worried that Destiny Rising will inherit the Destiny franchise and become the figurehead. And I really don't want it to end there. That's not the Destiny that I grew up with. That's not the Destiny that I spent probably close to 2,000 hours in total playing. That's not where I made my friendships. And I'm not saying that you can't make friendships with Destiny Rising. It's just, it's so different from what Destiny is that I think it's inappropriate for that to be the survivor of the Destiny lineage. So I hope this helps some people understand why this game means so much. There are other games out there, yes, like Warframe, or speaking in terms of MMOs, World of Warcraft. And there are new shopping centers from Bungie, or at least one. There's Marathon, and I enjoy Marathon, but it isn't the same as Destiny. And I don't blame Marathon, right? Bungie is a company with limited resources, so obviously some of them had to go to developing Marathon, but Marathon isn't the reason that Destiny 2 is shutting down. It's not the reason that the game hasn't lived the way that we hoped. If you want to get into the politics, there are plenty of other videos and channels you can watch to learn about how poorly managed the game was from the top. At the end of the day, big business game development often comes down to people who were born and raised or got invested in game development running the actual front lines while the people with the pocketbooks sit in bunkers well defended from any actual effects changes to the game may have. And so they don't understand, or worse, they ignore the cries out from the community to make the game better. They may even ignore cries out from their own people to try to make the game better. Because somewhere in that studio are a bunch of talented people who want to make a fun game. They don't just want to make dollars for Sony or Microsoft or Bungie or Activision or whomever holds the purse strings. They want to make a game that's fun, and they want to breed that community. One that's inviting, one that turns solo players like me into dedicated people making 30-minute videos, which is insane. Again, it's strange to cry over a video game that hasn't even gone away yet, but just it's like a person retiring. Like they're going to retire. And if you don't make an effort to hang out with them after they retire, what's the difference between that and them dying? It's difficult, but Destiny has meant a lot to me. And I hope, even if it doesn't happen tomorrow or next year or even until the next decade, I hope that Destiny survives beyond this. I hope that Sony and Bungie understand the community that still stands for this game despite all of the peaks and troughs that it's had. And I hope that you can have some comfort in knowing that You're not alone. It's so sad to hear, but we can all grieve together, if nothing else. The game has brought us together, and one last time it can bring us together. June 9th is the last opportunity for new content, and it'll stick around, but that's the moment to show Bungie that you care. That's the time to boot up your old PlayStation or Xbox or turn on your PC and just play like you used to. And yes, the game has changed. I've experienced that. I left for almost a year and came back, and it was very different. But at its heart, it's still Destiny. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. And please take care of yourself. Invest into your community, or you might lose the people who you never thought you would. See you next time.